Hi, my name is Lena Kremin. This project looked at parental code switching habits in the home across their infant's development. So code switching is when a bilingual or multilingual speaker is able to alternate between their languages while speaking. We know that code switching is common in bilingual and multilingual communities around the world. We also know that code switching can be difficult for bilinguals to process when it occurs within a sentence. However, it's not difficult for them to process when it occurs between sentences. And code switching can happen for a variety of reasons based on different speaker motivations. Previous research has tried to look into parental code switching with their child. And this has been done, for example, via questionnaire or via direct observation during the play session within the laboratory, but it's still unknown exactly how parents are code switching when speaking to their children at home on a day-to-day basis. To look at this, we used Lena devices, or these small recording devices that can sit inside of a pocket that in a vest that a child is wearing, and these devices can record up to 16 hours of speech in a given day. We had 21 French-English bilingual families in the Montreal area contribute 3 days of recordings when their infant was 10 months old. 16 of these families returned when their infant was 18 months old and contributed 1 additional day of recording. These recordings were then transcribed, and we calculated the frequency of code switches. We also coded the switches for their syntactic location, as well as the apparent reason motivating the code switch. So what we found was that parents increase the frequency of their code switching between 10 and 18 months. At 10 months, parents code switched about 7 times per hour of speech, whereas at 18 months, this increased to 25 times per hour of speech. While we saw an increase, this is actually a relatively rare code switching rate when compared to a Spanish-English population in the United States, which extrapolated was 115 code switches per hour. So there may be differences across communities in parental code switching at home. We also were able to investigate where parents' code switches happen syntactically. We found that most of parents' code switches are happening between sentences, which could be great news for their children, since between sentence code switches are not difficult for the children to process. For those code switches that did happen within a sentence, they happened equally or equivalently between a syntactic phrase and within a syntactic phrase. Because we had full context for all of our code switches, we were uniquely able to investigate why parents are code switching when speaking to their children. We found that most of the code switches that parents are producing seem to be to bolster their child's understanding, but they still use some other reasons. For example, borrowing a common word or phrase from one of their languages to the other, adding emphasis, or trying to attract their child's attention. The biggest change that we saw across the 2 ages was in teaching vocabulary. So when the child was 10 months old, parents were code switching 4% of the time to teach vocabulary, whereas at 18 months, parents were code switching 8% of the time to teach vocabulary. And this could be because at 10 months, children are not yet speaking, whereas at 18 months, they are saying a few dozen words. So parents may be trying to reflect their newfound abilities by teaching them new vocabulary words to say. So in conclusion, parents code switching does seem to appear to change over their infant's development, and their code switching could ultimately successfully support their child's bilingual development. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via email or Twitter, and thank you so much for listening.